All I have to say is if you can't handle a little bit of red, you don't deserve a whole lot of green. So yeah, I just got this chart up behind me. This is the SPX, the S&P 500. And, maybe it's a little bit odd that I have this up here saying, if you can't handle the red, you don't deserve a whole lot of green, because it closed at an all-time high at nearly $6,700. But I just want to remind you guys that what we see over here, this was in April when we had the Liberation Day. Everybody was panicking, and we ended up having this very nice V-shaped recovery. So when everybody's saying alt season's canceled, when everybody is saying, we're not going higher, take a step back and remember, when everybody is bearish, when everybody is freaking out, that's when you want to buy. And also, the stock market's, the S&P 500 is hitting all-time highs, so I don't necessarily think it's a good time to be panicking, and maybe some of what's in here will be rotating into other positions, whether that's crypto or small caps, whatever. So yeah, I think that's a good perspective to have. And so for this video, for this stream, I'm just going to be trying to run through about 20 different tickers or so in 30 minutes, and then I will be trying to look at some requests. Hopefully this is useful for you guys, and yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing I'll start doing on the channel. And yeah, I'm just going to begin with my normal intro. So hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, and we got a whole lot of them to look at here. And so the first one that I wanted to go over is actually Dogecoin. If I remove my drawings, this one gives me a little bit of confidence. You can't see the exact same thing with Bitcoin, with ETH, with others, but the thing that I really like about this chart is we got that 50-day simple moving average, that 50-day SMA, which is at around 23.5 cents. And so every Saturday, talk about the different cryptos that I'm stacking, and Doge is one of them. And this week, my target for Doge was 23 cents. And actually, so far for the day, the low is 23.14 cents. And so, that sucks that that order may not be getting filled, because we did bounce from that 50 SMA. And yeah, so maybe we're going higher, but maybe this does continue lower. So take it all with a grain of salt. But then looking at the drawings that I have here, I talked about this a couple Saturdays ago. This was over here, Saturday the 13th of September, looking at this big wick up. When I had recorded that Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, we had already pulled back, and I was thinking, well, maybe it's a good time to trim a little bit of Doge, and then I could buy back later. It's like, no, I like Doge. I want more Doge. I'm not going to do it. But I just think that's a really nice example of that. You do have the 31 cent line there, which corresponds with these prior lows. That support has now flipped to resistance. And then we also have this yellow line following the highs there did get rejected, and we were forming bearish divergence with higher highs in the stock price, lower highs in the RSI. So really not too surprising to see a pullback there. So don't worry about it. And yeah, but we'll look at some other cryptos and see what they look like. But, I'm just going to try to cycle through this list. I got the list here basically. But let's flip over to X to see this post from the Bronx Viking. He posted the bullish Shrek. And so I said, OMG, bullish Shrek is back. And, this is something that he doesn't frequently post. It's only when he's bullish, doesn't usually associate it with a ticker. I think to be a little ambiguous. But I think it could be associated with either GameStop, Unity Software, or Tesla. So let's come back over here to look at the next one on the list, which is GameStop. And so this one closed at $26.78 for the day, so looking pretty good. It looks like it's flat in the after hours. But we do see this kind of big wick on the top side. And so maybe that suggests, well, that does suggest there is some selling up there, and we don't see, a large amount of volume backing up that big spread candle. So maybe we pull back to retest around 26.30, somewhere around there, but maybe we don't. Maybe this is, me thinking too much about this. and we're actually going to be seeing some more bullish moves to the upside. And actually, if we do look over at the net call premium for GameStop for the day, September 22nd, we can see that net call premium in green has gone up a lot today, up nearly $6 million. So that does suggest that a lot of money is betting on GameStop going higher. So I think that looks really good. So, I think that even though we have seen, this little bit of a pullback on GameStop, I think it looks pretty good. I think the chart looks great. And then considering Tesla, I really haven't looked at this one too much, but again, big wick to the top side. Maybe that's suggesting that we are going to be seeing a retracement. Don't see a lot of volume backing that up, so good to consider it. But maybe we look over at the Tesla net call and put premium, and we can see that Tesla's net call premium is up over $67 million on the day, whereas net put premium came down by over 19 million. So that's, suggests selling of puts, buying of calls, but there's a lot of premium traded on Tesla. So is this really a big deal if we look at the big picture? If we go back the past 7 trading days, doesn't really look too impressive like compared to over here on, let's see, September 12th. Which would have been Friday. I believe that's when Elon announced that he was putting in, was it $1 billion into Tesla? And so on that day, net call premium was up over $203 million. So what we're seeing today, it's really not that big compared to it. So I think that is good to be keeping into perspective. And then coming back over to the list, also we got to check out Unity Software. This one has been moving up. I think we are all pretty happy about this one, but I do also want to caution that, whether, this ends up happening or not, Free Wyckoffs has talked about Unity Software potentially coming down to like $32 or so. So like right around where the cursor is. And, that has not played out yet, but just because this is going up doesn't mean it's going to go up forever. He was actually suggesting in a post, I don't have it to pull up, but that if Roaring Kitty comes back and makes an announcement about or an update about his GameStop position, maybe Unity Software is not a factor and people get disappointed by that. But really, Unity Software was always a speculative thing with that, really just having fun with it. So, let's see. So maybe this could pull back, coming down to 32. I don't know. We got the 50-day SMA around 38. So I feel like that's the first stop after we had closed at 45.91. I don't have any options data for this one. I believe net call premium went up by $1 million today, and net put premium either went up or down, I think down by $500,000. And so, nothing too crazy to go on about with Unity, but it's just performed really well so far. And speaking of ones that have performed really well, this is one I have not looked at in quite some time. Plug Power. I actually had some shares down here, and I was not feeling too confident that it would be breaking out like it did, and I just kind of wanted to clean up my portfolio, and so I sold my small position at break even down here, I believe, or maybe at a small loss, but nothing too crazy. But yeah, this has just been ripping faces off, and I do have a couple puts, 50-cent strike puts that I think expire in December. That was just kind of, an experiment. And I think that experiment has gone kind of bad because Plug has really taken off, closing on the day at $2.65, being up over 21.5% on the day. So just looking super great. So I just wanted to say congrats to anyone who's still holding this. A big reason why I stopped covering Plug videos, covering Plug in videos is because I felt like my analysis was off, and I felt like I had maybe not necessarily too much emotion, but I was wrong, and it's like beating a drum. I'm just going to be wrong and wrong again. So I just let it go. And, one of the things I didn't like about Plug is that the options data never really looked that good. But if we actually look over at the net call and put premium, we can see that net call premium today on the 22nd was up over $3.25 million. So I'm not used to seeing that with plugs. So I think things have really changed since, I last cover it. So again, congrats to all of you guys. It looks like over $3 million are betting on this continuing higher. But where might it end up? I don't really know. I think it's got a lot of volume behind it, but it could be, going higher. Maybe up to here, like $3, $3.28, somewhere around there. But then at that point, maybe there'd be a pullback or it'd start to consolidate. So do consider that. And then now I'm going to flip over to a post. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Star Wars announced that The Mandalorian and Grogu will be in theaters only on May 22nd of 2026. So that seems like it's a good move for Disney, a good move for Star Wars, and that would be great for AMC and also IMAX, because they also did have IMAX mentioned at the end of that. So that is just looking great. But yeah, let's look over at the AMC chart. Didn't see much with the options data, so I don't have anything to go over. But in the AMC video that I did put out there, I had kind of adjusted this downtrend. After the fact, I included a screenshot of it. But if we do look at this, it looks like, we've been putting in lower highs and we're potentially, bumping into some resistance there. Whereas in the video, I had drawn it with it looking like we're breaking out. But I mean, we did get two closes so far above that 50-day SMA, which it looks like it's at 298, and we closed at 3 in the after hours at 299. So let's see if we consolidate here. It looks like not so much volume was needed to hold the price up there. So I think that's a good look. What we want to see is volume continue to stay down as we hold up here, forming a bull flag, and then we could potentially break out to the upside. So I think that is looking great. And then the next one on the list, this is kind of crazy going over them so fast like this, but that is going to be NIO. And there's something I have to say about this before I get into it. I've got my little tabs up here in the wrong order. Yeah, so right here, I posted these two on the channel on the posts tab. And so I just wanted to note that this video performed very well. So thanks to all of you who tuned into that, 1.8 thousand views. So that's really good for me. So I really, really appreciate the views. But I also want to note that, and I think I mentioned it in the video, I tend to be a little bit cautious when I put titles out there. Or maybe I mentioned that during a stream. This video performed very well, which, I view that as a sign of euphoria. And so I said I'd cover it at 5. I'm covering it now. And so I'm not sure if it was in that video or if I just, drew it up after. I think I included it in the video that we could be seeing an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is big picture bullish, but that would suggest a pullback to around $5. And so NIO, while it was in the overnight trading near 8, I think it hit a high of 790. Somebody posted about it, and I said, well, let's see what happens when it opens. And so NIO opened at a price of 737, below 8, and hit a low of $6.80, closing at 691. And I don't think this necessarily looks that good, but also, following this big move, maybe we just need to draw a little fib retracement there to see what level that might be coming to. So the 236, the 50% would be around 660. So I'd keep an eye out for that healthy consolidation before the next leg up, or we could be seeing the formation of this right shoulder. And I have to say that I'm leaning more towards it coming down here. I haven't done anything different with my position, but looking at the options data here, NEO net call and put premium for the day, we saw a drop in net put premium by $2.2 million. So that's good. But, for the bulls, but the net call premium came down by $13 million. So that means people are selling their calls. They're no longer betting on this to continue going higher. So I think that what we might have seen, that video might have performed really well because of euphoria. So very good to be paying attention to that. And, just have a plan. If this comes back to 5, did one trim here, or did one just hold and then there's no cash on the side to buy back when it's lower? And so like I said, I'm not really doing anything with this, but that options data does make me feel like this is going to be pulling back. But what tends to happen with this is we get faked out constantly. And so I could see this going up again, maybe, to $7+. And so maybe that would be a nice opportunity to trim, just to hedge, in case it does actually pull back. So just some thoughts there. And let's see, the next one on the list is going to be Applied Digital. This is insane. And one thing that's super insane about it is that, let's see, where is it? I think it's right here. I posted this video on September 16th, pinpointing the low right there that you can see on that green line. And when I posted the video, we were right here. That blue line, that is the 382 Fibonacci retracement. So if we come over to the chart, that blue line is right here at 1432, and it closed at 24.45. This is one that I talked about in that video. I wish I had gotten a position in it, but I didn't. But realistically, I probably would have trimmed or exited around that red line. That's over 22% to the upside. But after today's big move, that's a 70% move. So, what I'm trying to focus on with this channel is quality videos, not quantity. This stream is really just going over a quantity of them to narrow it down. So let me know which ones, you think I should make videos on, because I'd like to get videos that perform well, but that also provide good insights. And one of them that actually has not really performed well, that was spot on, I'll go over a little bit later. But Applied Digital, I think, was one of those as well. And I should note today, Applied Digital went up 19.38%. And on that note of it looking really bullish, I do have the net call and put premium up here. So earlier in the day, net call premium was up over $4 million, but now it has pulled back some. So to me, that seems like there's kind of a divergence there, that either the stock price could come down some, or the net call premium needs to catch up with it, but not necessarily. But anyways, over the course of the day, we saw net put premium come down by $421,000. So effectively flat, compared to what's going on up here. But then the net call premium didn't end at $4 million up. It ended at $1.4 million. So, a little bit of a pullback there, but still looking green. And then the next one on the list, this is another video that I did put out. Let's see if it's over here. No, it's not. I guess I'm maybe. I guess I didn't post it. But yeah, this is a video that I put out that, sorry for scrolling. It didn't really perform that well. Oops, and I don't want to, I'm skipping ahead. I'll look at that in a minute. But yeah, I put out this video, drew this inverse head shoulders pattern, suggesting that, this could be going up to around $22. What we're seeing is, a little bit of a pullback today, but actually Mara ended up green on the day. So it only went up by 0.33%, but it did pull back, test this yellow line, but it hasn't even gotten back to that 50 SMA, which is around 1664 now. Over the weekend, it was at 1666. So I don't think this is looking that bad. We do see volume, a little bit elevated here, but generally it is coming down some as it is consolidating. And so I think that we could be getting that move up to 22. But let's look at the options data. This, I think, paints a different picture where it looks a little bit bearish. We can see net put premium went up by about $420,000. And so that is positive. That's kind of bearish. Whereas net call premium came down by 3 million. And so that's definitely suggesting that it is bearish, but maybe it's just going to consolidate before it moves higher. And then another one that, I don't have the chart for, but, since Mara is a Bitcoin miner, I thought I'd pull up IBIT, the Bitcoin ETF. And I believe this is this iShares. So this is BlackRock. And what we can see here is net put premium did go up by about $5 million, whereas net call premium came down by $26 million. So that is bearish, both sides of that. But since there's going to be a lot of money trading this, let's go back the past 7 days. Does this look super bearish? I mean, that net call premium is down a lot. Let's go back 14 days. Yep. So, we could be seeing somewhat of a pullback. So good to consider that as far as IBIT goes. But then talking about IBIT, let's talk about Bitcoin. And so like I was talking about with Doge, it did pull back to the 50-day SMA and bounced, whereas Bitcoin did not. So far, we're trading below the 50 SMA, which is around 114. Currently trading sub 113. So consider that. It does seem like there's a lot of volume behind this move, so we could continue going lower. I'd look for support around 112 so far on the day after dropping down over 2% so far. Looks like the low is 111,761. So right around that 50% retracement. So maybe that acts as support, or maybe we get a double bottom or a sweep of the lows over here around 108. Talking about Bitcoin, we also have to go over ETH, another one that did break below that 50 SMA, with it currently trading sub $4,200. I believe that was the level that I had from Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, whereas I thought that 4,300 would be acting as support, but maybe we break down below. So we'll have to see where the candles are on this in the coming days. Hopefully we get a bounce and start to move higher. And since we were talking about Ethereum, let's check in with Tom Lee. And so he has this update on the info on Bitmine. And so from Bitmine, his Ethereum treasury company that he is the chairman of, we can see that $365 million were registered direct offering at 70 per share of Bitmine. And that puts their holdings of Ethereum at over 2% of the Ethereum supply. And their goal is 5%. So, I think that is something to note. And then looking over at this, they crossed $10 billion as far as their Ethereum holdings go for Bitmine. And that's coming from the Strategic ETH Reserve, or SER. You can see that over here. I have been doing some coverage from their page, but I'm going to stop doing that because those are kind of not too popular. And I get bored with them. They're not really that stimulating. Only when there's news like this, an increase of 264,000 ETH, and that has led to Bitmine. I'm just going to scroll up so you can see it. Bitmine Immersion Tech, ticker symbol BMNR, now holding over 2.42 million ETH, valued at over $10 billion. So that is pretty incredible there. But yeah, let's look over at the chart of Bitmine just to see that we are getting a little bit of a pullback, and I've just got too much clutter on there. And so with that being said, I'm going to delete this box, and we can just consider this Fibonacci retracement, and the 50% would be coming down to around $52. So I would look for that to be acting as support, or maybe 49, corresponding with, this little flat top in the 50-day SMA right there. And while we're also talking about these, treasury companies, one that I think is pretty interesting is going to be AVAX. I did not look at the chart, but it's a pretty crazy wick there coming nothing to the downside, but what I wanted to share about this. And actually, before I go over this, I wanted to go over the BitMine call and put premium. We can see here the net put premium has gone up by about 15 million, whereas net call premium has come down by about 43 million. So that seems like we are going to see a little bit of a retracement with BitMine. So yeah, I would look for that to come down to 52 or 49. But then flipping back over to AVAX, what did I want to say about AVAX? I actually just wanted to mention this. I saw this video, Skybridge Capital, led by Anthony Scaramucci, talking about $150,000 price target for Bitcoin. And he also talked about, creating a treasury company or treasury holdings. I forget the term for it, but around AVAX. So I think that's pretty bullish for AVAX. So good to consider there. I don't know that half an hour is long enough for this. I just got to cut my list down. Going on to the next one, that is going to be Webull. I talked about this in the stream last night. Got this cool little pattern. Could be suggesting that this is breaking out. This is one that I'm considering doing a video on. But actually, let's see, where am I at in the list? Not there. Oh, I was going to mention these other ones related to treasury companies. So this is, the acquisition season has begun for Bitcoin treasury companies. And so he's saying, Scott Melker is saying no idea why they would pay a 210% premium, and that is going to be ASST. I just wanted to mention this because I had covered that. And so I think it's interesting. If they're paying a premium on it, they're betting on it going up. And this is also some news coming out about, steps moving forward to allow the $12.5 trillion 401k capital to flow into Bitcoin and crypto. So, Wendy O is saying, higher. So good to pay attention to that. But then, sorry about that. Coming back to Webull, let's see. What did I want to say about this? This didn't really perform that well. I did a video on it, and let's see. Yep, right here. The last time I covered Webull, I was spot on. I was bearish when it broke the 50-day SMA. So let's look at that. Let's clear up my drawings. I made a video here saying that I thought price would go lower. And price did go lower by about 10%. But you know what? Nobody watched that. Got 40 views at the time that I posted it. One more person's viewed it. I was spot on with that pullback. And so I don't really want to be doing videos if people aren't going to be watching them. And so, I'd like to cover it again, but, people need to watch the videos. So yeah, looking at the chart here, and then also, I think I've got some unusual whales data. This looks pretty good. Net put premium decrease of 370 million, whereas the net call premium has gone up by about 371,000 net put premium going down, 371,000, whereas net call premium has gone up by 271 million. So that does seem pretty good. It does seem like this could be breaking out like this bar pattern that I have there. So maybe we see a move up, but then a retest of this downtrend before it goes higher. So I find that to be pretty interesting. Also, let's cover Rivian. This is one I went over last night. I don't have too much to say about it. I kind of mapped out these three different scenarios, leaning on the bullish side, and it did go up about 6% on the day, closing at 1524, so looking good. Maybe it does move like that. Net call and put premium over here, we can see that as stock price in yellow went up, net call premium also went up, going up by nearly $3 million, whereas net put premium dropped by less than 100,000. So looking good there. And then just to note, the last one on here is going to be Fartcoin. This has broken below 69 cents. I was having fun with that level. And sadly, it's a little bit lower, currently at about 62 cents. If this does go lower, I could see it coming down to the 786. That's around 52 cents. So that is where I would look to add more to my position. I added at 69 cents a couple times, at 80 cents a couple times, trimmed a little bit higher. But yeah, I'm putting the brakes on other than my normal standard DCAs, daily DCAs with Bitcoin and Ethereum. But yeah, that was kind of a marathon. And so what I'm going to do is just pull up the chat. And sorry, Nick was saying this, I think maybe about AMC. I should have sold Friday. And so if you're referring to AMC, I think that this could be, I mean, like I said, I think it could be pulling back to 280. So, I think it's a good time to take it easy, not worry too much about it. But from the analysis of Free Wyckoff's, I believe his name's Rico, he's talked about this potentially getting rejected here and pulling back, which could be sweeping the lows here at 267. So do consider that. But I think that the first stop is going to be 280 or 290, somewhere in that range. But do consider that just because somebody thinks that something could be lower doesn't mean it's going to happen. But it's good to have a plan for that. And so I think this is a good example of that. Unity is also a good example of that, because that did not pull back. It went higher. This might do something the same. And I also see Daniel in the chat, just going to pull it up. We're watching. We're just degenerate about commenting. I'm not seeing too many chats or anything. Or just watching, looking, and commenting and stuff, enjoying the interactions on YouTube and on X. I think that, Neo here, this is one. Thank you again so much for all the people who watched. It's very refreshing and invigorating for me to get all of the views, so I really do appreciate it. But yeah, with Neo, I would just have a plan for it to come back to 50, even if we get a pump up back into the $7 range. That could be, we'll have to look. Is there divergence or anything there? And I haven't seen anything. I have been looking for AMC and NEO at net call and put premium to be suggesting, or sorry, not net call and put premium, but looking at strikes to see if higher strikes are added to the October monthly. And I haven't seen that yet, but we might be seeing that this week to try and suppress the prices. So do keep that in mind. But the stream has gone on for about 31 minutes, so I'm going to end it here. But thank you all so much for tuning in live. If you did, thank you for the chats. As always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below and in the chat. I'll be doing this again tomorrow, and I'll try to do a video tonight on one of the tickers that I've covered here that stands out to me as being really exciting. I'm just going to pull up some more chats. Daniel, let's see. Oops. And I'll just end with the chats. Wink, Lucky Dove, and an apple. And let's see. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in a video later tonight. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of the